Can you hear it? Welcome to Relay.
Sorry that I was so late.
Hello. Oh, yes. Hello. That appeared. Sound should be working this time. Hopefully. Oh, I'm probably too loud. Let me get that. Nope, that's the wrong one. Let me get this. Haha. Haha. Am I less loud? Let's go there, and you can all tell me if I'm too loud.
If only they had like some sort of volume meter in broadcasting software that you could actually look at and manage in real time to see your own volume levels.
Well, I am. I'm looking at it right now, and I'm watching my volume levels. But I have to talk while I'm watching my volume levels to know what my volume levels are.
Why are you doing this now? We've been sat here for 6 days.
So I forgot about it.
Oh, fair.
Oh.
Hello,
Hey,
welcome to the
everybody.
Relay Station. I am the Titanic, and Nakara are the icebergs that are going to sink me.
Oh, you missed a chance. You could have been the Titanic, he could have been the Olympic, and I could have been the Lusitania.
Oh, that's true. I could have done that.
Hey, Noscavian.
I
No,
Why
we
not
talked
like
about
you?
you, Darge. We come up
They
with
do.
many theories about you.
I recently
They just sit there in silence like this for 6 days. I'm here like, why am I? And then, on the 7th day, they're like, hi, and welcome to And I'm like, oh, we're doing this now? Okay.
Hey, Nascavian. Hey, Grave Peril.
Okay.
Yes, I think
I
it's
wanna
best
say-
if people think that nothing happens before we get live.
Yes, we just sit there like this. Live. All right. I recently played a 3-shot of Star Trek Adventures.
Yep.
I was the captain, and I named the ship the Lusitania.
It's an interesting choice.
I thought so.
Yeah.
I mean, I gave the crew some options, but they chose the Lusitania over the Verisimilitude for some reason.
Oh, I would have been all in on verisimilitude for sure.
Right?
I'm just thinking your DM was generous letting you name this ship. You're like, fuck me, I wouldn't let you name a ship.
Yeah. Welcome to the Relay Station. We got a full week this week. It was a really, really long, really, really good ISC. Speaking of full things, I've got a new favorite. Don't worry, I'm going somewhere sane on this. I've got a new favorite brewery, and you can't see it, but like, you open their beer, and it's literally like right to the top. There's no like room for air in it at all. So if you open it even like a normal can, it just explodes everywhere. But it's great because it means more beer
Data
for me.
girls like that.
I wanted to start. Wow, Eric gave up before me. Eric, you, while we were, communicating silently before the show, you were saying that you just got back from a movie.
Yeah, I got to see the D&D movie. It's really good, guys. Go watch it. It's awesome.
So
I really enjoyed it. They do a really good job of actually encapsulating the absolute chaos that is D&D.
I wanna say that we're starting to finally get like actual quality video game and nerd like movies.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to seeing if they're going to do anything with Star Trek Adventures. That could make an interesting TV show.
Yeah, you know,
Bit
it's
crazy, I
sci-fi
know,
and everything. Sci-fi is really popular these days. So, they could really turn, this whole Star Trek Adventures thing into like a real TV show. I'm not sure who would watch it, but there's got to be an audience out there somewhere, right?
Maybe one or two people.
Total silence for that.
sorry, I was
1 or 2 people.
Darj was making comments about beer, and I was distracted because beer.
11%.
But no, like I want to, like, you think about, like, we got Last of Us, I know that this might seem strange, but I really enjoyed the Sonic the Hedgehog movies, actually.
I only watched the first one, but it was good.
Like, we're starting to finally get, like, I mean, I liked the Resident Evil movies we got way back, but they weren't very good. But I think what we're finally seeing is, like, people that played games have finally grown up and, like, taken positions of power and are able to start making things be good. And it's really nice to see, because it means we're finally getting, like, nerds in charge, and everything's better when there's nerds in charge.
I like the Mortal Kombat movie. Do you like not the more recent one was all right, but I actually preferred the old original one.
The old one was actually, like, it was camp, but it was good camp.
It had Christopher Lambert in it. You can't go wrong with Christopher Lambert in it. He saved Highlander 2 on his own. That movie was. Oh, we don't talk about 2 either, Daj. You're right. Highlander 2 was a bad movie, except when Christopher Lambert was on screen.
I don't even know who that is.
He was Raiden in Mortal Kombat. He was the Highlander in The Highlander. He was Connor MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod.
I think I saw Highlander once, maybe.
Highlander's a really good movie. It's fucking old. Jesus, that hurts.
You know what? I don't watch movies very often, but Cass and I finally watched Everything Everywhere All at Once yesterday. And that was actually a very, very good movie. Like, I actually agree with that being, like, movie. That's one of those, like, this is the movie of the year choices that, like, oh, okay, yeah, it is. So, really, really good. Everything Everywhere All at Once. Recommend it. Hey, Tip, how's it going? Okay, so let's talk Star Citizen. Everyone okay with that?
What?
Yeah, okay.
Hey, JJ. Hey, Tip.
Hey, JJ. Yeah, let's talk some Star Citizen. Let's start
I'm in
with
pyramid schemes.
In Star Citizen?
I don't think they exist.
Star Citizen is a pyramid scheme, apparently.
I mean, that's been the theory for like a decade.
Yep. I haven't been played out yet, have you?
Yes.
Oh.
In friendship.
I knew it. I was waiting
worthless.
for it. I was waiting for it. I was like, here he goes. Oh, I love it.
No, so
it's the friends
ISC
we made along the way, Shiver.
exactly.
Come on.
Today's ISC was the last ISC for a month or so, which
Mhm.
means that I guess we'll like try and play some Star Citizen next week. But it does mean
Generally we alternate between playing and taking a break, depending on who's needing a break.
Yeah. which might be me.
I got a JPEG of a friend ship. Does that count?
There we go. That's the new ship that CIG made a new ship, the friend ship.
Oh boy, I like that.
So
All right, let's do this thing.
I don't know what's happening. Let's start. So, a couple concept image things. The first is of actually really nice new turrets for the Origin 600i.
Yeah, they're very pretty.
They look nice.
Always
the
nice what you get off of a new employee doing a test, hey?
Yeah, yeah. I want more tests like that. More individualized turrets for different ships. It's cool. We are seeing
SRV.
Go, Shiver?
hang on. I'm a big fan of hidden turrets. Like you can be approaching a 600i and you think,
Yeah.
oh, I'm gonna fucking claim this bar of soap all to myself, and then suddenly just whoop, whoop, and fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love hidden turrets. More hidden turrets.
Yeah, it's great.
I want to see like I'm still waiting really for the Merchantman and its hidden turrets, because like it's supposed to have really really big hidden guns, right?
Oh
As a
yeah,
blockade runner.
The two front guns at the front are huge, and they're in a lot of the concept art. They are hidden inside, and they pop out.
I love that.
Which would be amazing. Okay, I have a hot take this week. This is a rare thing for me.
Oh my goodness.
I do not like those tires. I disagree.
Why?
I disagree with the tires. Because
So
it's supposed to be an off-road vehicle. Those are not even remotely off-road tires.
they're space off-road. Also, it's not an off-road vehicle. Look at those chairs. This is a luxury vehicle.
It doesn't drive on a road, therefore it's off-road.
I mean, technically, Star Citizen doesn't have any roads yet.
Yeah, we said screw it with roads.
Wait,
which means
are
every vehicle is an off-road.
Are ships off-road vehicles? Because
no,
they're
because
vehicles. Yeah, but they're vehicles, and they don't go on roads.
Technically, yes, I would call it. I would be happy to call the ship an off-road vehicle.
Okay. I guess there's the buggy track, so the buggies are on-road vehicles.
Oh man, the buggies are pretty much the only vehicle that mostly is designed to drive on like a man-made flat surface.
Jesus Christ, JJ, that guy must fucking hate Mass Effect.
Okay, I want to try and do these in order, even though the video's not going in order. So the next, I mean, it's going in order, but like, I need to restart it. So we saw the 600i turrets. They're really nice. I think they look really good, even if they are reused assets. Reuse assets. That's how games get made. I don't even know if they are reused assets. I think they look great. The next is the Argo SRV. It's cute. It's orange. I like it.
Looks great. It looks great for a tow truck. Awesome tow truck.
Yep.
That's a good looking tow truck. Like, seriously.
I'm sorry. You just went full influencer there. You're like, it's great. Looks orange. It's like, yeah, we can see the video. Thanks for telling us the fucking color of it. We know. Why don't you just be like, it's orange. Ooh woo.
You should do that.
No, this is. I want to talk about the links. I want to talk about the links for a second because I hate RSI ships. It is commonly known that, to me, RSI ships are among the ugliest ships in the verse. until the Scorpius came out, which is a glorious looking ship. And now the Lynx, and I like the Lynx. What is happening? When did RSI's design language change? And can this please continue? Because I like the Lynx.
And the Lynx goes with the Phoenix, and they look the same.
They do not.
Well,
not even remotely.
Okay. The exterior doesn't look the same, but the interior does.
Oh, I've never had a problem with the interior of RSI ships. They're fine. The exterior of the Connies is hideous.
The exterior of I think they took the luxury design. I think the reason that the Connie Phoenix doesn't look more sleek in exterior is because they wanted to. Even if you think about it in game terms, the company doesn't generally want to completely redesign the outer mold line of a vehicle. So they just souped up the interior. In this case, it looks like the Lynx was made specifically to go on the Phoenix, so they made it fancy.
But they didn't make it ugly. Like it has some flow to it, which I really don't like. That the RSI, there's just no flow. Anyway, I've gone over this a million times. What's next? What was the next one? I'm going to start back at the beginning because I already forget what was next.
Sounds good.
And because it's pretties anyway. What do you think of the Lynx Shiver? Did you like it?
It's buggy, isn't it?
Wait, are you talking about the game or the,
I like it.
or the Lynx?
Aha! If I don't like something aesthetically, it's got a functional use, and that's got a functional use. I don't want the Lynx to go around and pick up lone Banu and stuff. I want it to go exploring. I want it to be functional for the job, and that seems like it's going to be functional for the job. Doesn't have to look as nice as Eric does, but whatever could.
I like it. All right, what's next? What was next? I don't remember.
I'm waiting for it to come back.
I know.
This is the Crusader Spirit
Industries.
Oh yeah, it is the Spirit. The Spirit's looking really good.
Yeah, you can't take it into many bars though. They don't serve spirits in all bars.
Only in the UK.
They don't serve spirits,
you can get spirits
in bars?
in the UK. That's part of the problem with the UK.
What bar doesn't serve spirits?
Dry counties in the US.
Yeah, we don't talk about the US. We don't go to the US. We don't think about the US. The US is a silly place. It's only a model.
So the Crusader Spirit.
Love this ship.
Can someone remind me what the hell this ship does? And my brain totally blanked on this one.
It's a starter-ish. It's a starter adjacent ship. It's really big footprint wise, but interior space, it's about the same as a Freelancer or a Cutlass. It's got 3 different variants. One is a bomber, one is passenger transport, and the other one is just a fighter, I believe. And I think there's some images at the end here of the bomber variant.
I'm remembering.
Which those are big looking bombs. BT dubs.
Man, this is a very nice ship. The Crusader ships are always really nice ships.
Yeah.
I love the suit storage on all the ships. Love when they have the suit storage. Amazing.
Yep. It is absolutely modeled after the Normandy, but it's much smaller. Just like the Freelancer is modeled after the Serenity, but is much smaller. The Santoki, what do you think?
Pretty good. It looks pretty like this one looks more gray box than most gray box, if you know what I mean. It definitely needs final art for me to really say one way or the other. I love the fucking freaky landing gear.
It's really funny because in the episode, Jared was like, and we're testing out the landing gear to make sure that the landing gear are the right size to carry the ship. And I'm like, no, those are fucking T-Rex arms. Those are not the right size to carry that ship. They're T-Rex arms.
It's an adult Jean Scout. It's a Jean Scout grown up.
Yeah, but it's got like it didn't. Its arms didn't grow up.
Funky. It's cool. Well, no, that's fair. But it's all right. Yeah, the horizontal and profile, the way it can also, I imagine it can also do the go vertical thing, right? That's the point of getting
Not all of them, I
Apollo and
think.
Jean. Oh, what's the fucking point of them then?
Well, like Tip says, I think the Scout right now is looked down upon because it has such a easy profile to hit. So I think I don't know if they're going to keep doing them like that.
Because the last that I remember time they talked about differences were like Jean ships are going to be Jean ships are going to be far more maneuverable. So those are going to be your evasive and kiting ships as a general rule of thumb. Whereas human ships are going to be a sort of mid-range point. Some of them can be a bit more agile. Some of them be a bit more punchy, and so on. They want to give each species a flavor to go with. And last I heard, I could be wrong. Please correct me. Was that they were going for far more maneuverability with the Shan. So yeah, if it's that easy to hit, okay, can live with that. When are you going to make it so I can move out of the way of a frickin' laser beam?
I believe that is still the idea. I don't know how much work the engines on it have had, and I also wonder how much we're limited by our inability to control it properly, possibly. I don't know.
I mean, from a technical standpoint as well, they are and will always be still tweaking the flight model, especially in major ways until the release of Squadron 42, because they want it unified between the two games. And so the way that the engines have got to work on a Jean Scout have also got to fit in line with the way that they're under the hood in the engine, working with engines for human ships as well.
Yeah.
And fuck that.
Can I say about the
Good luck,
Santok
CIG.
I think the landing gear need to be bigger. I think they're really cute that they do look like insect landing gear. That's great. I love the eyes. It looks like a bug with eyes. You know?
Absolutely. It has such a not Firefly, Dragonfly vibe to it.
Yeah.
It looks like it would be for a medium fighter. It looks like it would be so maneuverable.
Yeah.
It'd probably be a blast to fly. I can't wait to fly some of these ships.
Shiver?
Remember, whose line is it anyway?
Yes.
Oh, of course.
Remember
It's
Colin
legendary.
Mockery?
Of course.
And his dinosaur impression.
Totally. Yes.
Those are landing gear for you.
Perfect. Yep. I still like them. I still think they're different and cool. I like them.
I like them.
If you don't want T-Rex arms landing gear, don't buy the Santok guy.
No, I like them. I just think it's really funny that Jared was like, we're making sure that the landing gear are big enough to look like they hold the ship. I'm sorry, those do not look like they're big enough to hold the ship.
They look like they need to be sized up somewhat, but I do really like the design, so I hope they keep the design.
I hope so as well. Okay, we've gone through.
I can complain about the tires again. I mean, I know Jared said he really liked the tires. They don't like what? No. It only has one tread. It only goes one way. It's going to be a problem.
I don't know. I think they're fun.
Be really good on sand, probably, and water. But that's it. But yeah,
maybe that's the point.
What I do wanted to say though, and they've done such a great job of this in Star Citizen, and they continue to do such a great job, is like you have basically a car, right? They didn't have to reinvent shit, but they're like going to like the intricate workings of how the suspension works and how the wheels work, and the wheels don't work the same way that real vehicles work. They came up with new ways that they work.
Wait,
it's really
so
impressive.
The wheels on the Lynx don't go round and round?
I meant in general.
They vibrate.
I just wanted to do the song. I'm sorry.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Especially with the Cyclones, which have the wheels that actually like the the tires, they don't really have tires, but the wheels actually, like, the faster you go, the more they dig in, because they have those like
Yeah.
the like plates all along the wheel that like come out when the it's their creativity is amazing. I really love, like, it really feels like they're giving their artists like some serious leeway about like the shit they come up with. It's fun.
You know what else is going to be a really big problem with the Santoki Eye?
What's that? It's bright
Landing
green.
anywhere not perfectly flat.
Well,
That's true, but it is
me
a
an
fighter
idea,
though.
actually.
It is a fighter, so this is coming back to the, like, it should be landing on a space station or on the deck of a ship. That's it.
What
What's
if
that, Shiver?
Eric said that the landing gear would be great for softer terrain? And what if that's the point? What if the landing gear only come out for softer terrain?
Ooh, that'd
Any
be an
other
interesting
terrain,
thought.
it just hovers.
Maybe.
And then,
I mean, we do have
have it on a deck, you don't need to worry about
Yeah.
putting landing gear up to move it around or anything like that, and it's just there.
one thing that I think that we've honestly really missed out on is, and here I go bringing it up again, but the original promise of the freelancer. No, seriously, because the freelancer was originally touted as this like amazing mixture of technology between Xion and human. And we didn't get that. And we haven't seen that, but we haven't really seen that anywhere else. Like, it might be interested. I think it's on your point about them hovering, like it's the X1, I think, the Origin bike.
Yep.
That doesn't land, it just hovers. Now,
Mhm.
it might be interesting if in the lore,
Doesn't
and
go
I don't
on
know,
water,
maybe. No?
You need a pet board for that.
I got nothing.
I missed that one.
Shiver's disowned us. I could see it in his eyes.
Thank you, Daj. I knew I could rely on you. And JJ, my rocks.
BTTF, hey?
Back to the Future.
Oh, dear.
I mean, I don't know. I think it might be interesting if, like, the X1 was, like, using Xion technology to hover. And then these Xion ships could hover instead of land. And then something like the free, like if there was more of that integration. Is it the Nox?
The Nox does, yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I feel like,
I mean, it's a sci-fi game. There should be
Yeah.
more hovering stuff, but it needs to be done in a way where we should already be wowed by the regular human tech being quite futuristic and all that sort of thing, and then landing gear. But it should also be not rare, but fairly uncommon. You know, a green sort of level of rarity where you see this hovering ship and you're extra wowed again.
mm-hmm.
Like when
No,
Luke
I
goes
agree.
to see the Millennium Falcon and he's like, what a hunk of junk. But the audience, first time watching it, are like, what? Look at that ship. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you get Star Wars references, but not Back to the Future. I see this crowd.
Do you have any idea how often I watch Star Wars?
Too much.
Way too much. Link's favorite thing in the world is the fight at the end of episode 3 between Obi-Wan and Anakin through the lava, like the lava waterfalls.
That is a good fight. It's
a good fight. Skip the rest of the movie, and all he wants to do is watch the lava fight. And he watches the lava fight on repeat.
That's fair.
And he was talking about I lost my hand today. And Cass was like, oh, are you like Luke when Luke lost his hand? No, it was Anakin. Anakin lost his hands. Because
that's why they called him Andykin.
Anyway, spoilers for anyone that hasn't seen Star Wars.
Yeah, I think you're a good man.
I freaking hope so.
Why is the twist, again, spoilers for Star Wars coming, why is the twist in Star Wars always bad guy is someone's parent?
Yeah.
At some point, it's not really a twist anymore.
No, it's just
It's just the way it goes. Oh my.
don't bother, JJ. Stick with Star Trek. It's better.
It is.
So,
Actually, there's good Star
Condors.
Wars right now too.
there's
Condor.
good.
I mean, it's not animated, but it is interesting to see them starting to test out the AI for animals.
Animals, fauna.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited for fauna.
I love that Jared's like, this is a test. If you complain about these, there's another clip further, but he's like, if you complain about this, I'm gonna come for you because I'm telling you right now, it's not final. There's no animations.
What, you mean that the completely unanimated fish and birds aren't final?
Right, but there still will be people complaining about it. I thought this was actually pretty impressive. They were talking about these weights not being finished yet, and man, they interacted good though.
Yeah.
Are you?
Are we going to skip over the most important thing? Thank you, Eric. Thank you.
No, we're not. We're not
The
skipping
most
the coffee
important
machine.
feature.
It has the cute kitty mug.
Yeah, it's also got a massive design flaw in it with the kitty mug, though.
Oh, probably.
Like, you have to drink it in a certain way or your eyes get stabbed out.
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
there are probably mugs like that in real life, so I think that's probably legit. Yeah.
I want to note that I think there's a massive flaw in that coffee machine because you know that someone's going to hack one of those coffee machines so that it doesn't stop. It just keeps compressing and crushes your mug in the machine.
Or the sensor just breaks on it. And
yeah. Massive flaw. I love these, by the way. These like hangable posters.
Oh, yes. So cool.
So cool.
I love it so much.
It was very, very early on in the Kickstarter where they were like, yeah, you're going to be able to like decorate your ship and your room with things. And we've seen, honestly, not too much of that. And
they've talked about it, but it hasn't been a huge focus for them.
No, and I mean, you know why. Like, it's not a huge focus. But
no,
these hangable posters
are
cool. A really, really easy way for them to add, one, something collectible, two, something fun to put up, and three, it's just going to use art that they've already got.
And they have tons of it.
They've got so good. Much. Like it's a perfect mix of reusing art that they have and giving players something to collect and something to be able to like customize with. Art.
Oh.
I'm really looking forward to, sorry, that's actually no what I wanted to lead off with. I'm happy they're leaning into the sci-fi trope of the just like weird random commodities too. The grasping weevil eggs being like a big contraband.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I also like that you can see in this clip right here the 10 kilo weight. Like, he cannot throw the 10 kilo weight nearly as far as
weighs a lot more.
It's basic, but it's still really nice to see because honestly, not all games do that. Lots of games, if you can pick it up, you can throw it the same distance.
Yep.
Oh, you know what I have to say though on that coffee maker? Biggest design flaw is look at that water reservoir on the left. That water reservoir is incredibly narrow. That's only going to be able to make like a couple cups of coffee.
Yes, but it generates its own water out of the air.
I mean, okay, that would be fine, but that is a problem.
Yeah, no, it's tiny. There's my sci-fi explanation. It's just funny because it's not even that sci-fi. We already have things like that, but that'd be funny if that was why it was small, is because it just pulls water out of the air and refills itself.
Sure, did you say something about adding sugar to coffee?
Yeah.
Heathen.
It says you with your milk in your coffee.
No, black.
You just drink black coffee flavored water.
I just drink black coffee. Yes. I do not add anything to my coffee. No, that's the way it should
Oh
be
my
drunk. That's the
God.
way it's
There is
best.
no way it should be drunk. There's 7,000 ways to drink coffee. In fact, there might even be a million ways to drink coffee. 7,000
There is only one
probably not a
agreed
big
way to
enough
drink
number.
coffee, and that is by putting it in your mouth and swallowing it, which is what I said on my hunt. Never mind.
Oh, I did not see the Hull C models in the scene, Darsh.
Oh man.
Coffee is delicious. If you drink coffee, you should drink
Okay.
it for the flavor.
Now I need to actually
Yeah, I
watch
do.
this again because
Mixed with sugar.
No,
it's got a good flavor when it's mixed with a bunch of other things.
I can't rewind. It only goes one way. I want to say though, I
By the way,
was looking.
The biggest thing that annoys me about Streamlabs is we went from using OBS to Streamlabs. Right before we switched, OBS got the feature where you could pause and rewind and play video.
Yeah,
And then we moved to Streamlabs and they didn't have that feature. It's like,
and they still don't.
I know. Pissed me off.
I was going to say something. What was it?
Yeah, well, we're
That's
in it now.
fair tip.
Pretty much everything's garbage.
We're on it now, and it is handy because it saves the loadouts. So if I can't stream, Eric or Shiver can stream, and it's all the same. That is genuinely a nice feature to have. Anyway, and right now it sort of hosts our website. I was going to say.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say on the animals, I think it's really important to see them start working on animals,
Aminals.
because I think having wildlife. I had a couple thoughts on here. One, I wonder if they're actually further along than not, because I feel like Squadron's going to have some sort of wildlife in it at some point, or else it's going to feel a little dead on any planets that you're on. So I was wondering if, like, I'm sure that there is a difference to how AI move about in a single player game versus a multiplayer game. So maybe that's something that has to be worked on as well. I don't know. I was either way happy to see. Oh, there.
Yeah, the poster is the Hull C there.
No, isn't it there in the corner?
Oh, the poster was also the Hull C.
Yes, the poster's the Hull C, but I saw anyway.
Oh, there's yeah, I see it.
You did.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah, that's cool. Good catch, Darsh.
That's neat.
Yeah, Mazer, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, they really need animals. Just it changes everything. Even a couple birds or go show
Oh,
it.
it's huge.
You're pretty much saying the same thing. It just, more, at least the impression of randomized pathing on an animal's fauna in general just adds to depth.
Yeah.
You don't want to go to a planet and it's completely desolate apart from trees.
Think about the platforms of Orison if they had birds flying around. Like I think that would be. I mean, already they're such a beautiful landing zone, but I think that would bring like another layer, even if they were. And this is totally something I could see, and something we've seen them do a little bit. But even if they're basically all holographic birds, because no birds would really live there, it would be really cool. But regardless, most of the places in the world would benefit a lot from fauna.
Well, any terraformed planet, any planet that has trees, honestly, would benefit from some fort of fauna.
You're right over there, man.
No, I'm not. Stroke 7 to David.
Yep.
Of course, it doesn't count until they add hedgehogs.
I am a little upset that they didn't start with the cow. Like, I need the space cow. Where the hell is the space cow? Come on.
Space cow, space hedgehogs.
I actually think birds are a perfect place to start.
Yeah, they are.
They just by being in the sky, like they add motion to a completely still sky, and that little bit of motion from a bird brings life to a scene.
Yep.
Really, really easily.
It also it adds something because this is how plants proliferate is through
Yep.
flying insects.
Mhm.
Not exclusively through flying insects, through birds, but what about, and this I'm not joking here, bird strikes going to be a thing?
I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah, they probably will be, and that's
I'm sure they
another
will.
thing. And it's another thing you can add that can make things really difficult for you. If you're, I mean, you think about for the most part, you're like, well, that doesn't sound like that big of a hazard. Um, there are go to YouTube and look up swarms of birds.
Yeah, but
There are swarms of birds that are millions strong and can fill the entire sky. If you
but
you can actually create like a real hazard on a planet if there's just
Yeah.
lots of birds.
Yeah.
but hold on, because we are flying spaceships that get shot at and have shields that withstand. Like, I think you'd need a
It's a bird in
shit
your-
ton of birds.
It's a bird in your exhaust port. You're fucked. That's it.
Bird in your exhaust port.
I mean, bird
No more
goes
bird.
splat onto the windscreen for you. And, oh god, not again!
You know,
Oh.
Darsh,
There you go.
that makes sense. They have said that they want weather enforced no-fly zones. So yeah, sure, bird enforced no-fly zones. Why not? You can
I think
risk it
so.
if you think your ship
Birds
is
count as
hardy enough.
ballistic.
Yeah. Now, I do have to say, we see them tweaking fish. Or is that in this clip, or is that in the next clip?
It's in this clip. Yep, they're
It's in this
just
clip.
doing very basic AI for swimming fish.
But that means a couple of things. One, it means we'll be able to see those fish because they all look like they're underwater. So it means we will at some point be able to go underwater and see those fish. And two, it means fishing must be in any video game that has a fish in the game must
Has to have
add fishing.
Yes.
It is it is a rule.
Yep.
It's like if there's a dog or a cat, you have to be able to pet it. Well, if there's a fish, you have to be able to fish it.
When
Yep.
do you think they're going to tackle that? He fell for it, hook, line, and sinker.
Somewhere down the line. Damn it.
That's very rod of them.
They've also been doing some updates to places. Some atmospheric updates to Planet Hurston. Looks very United States.
Oh, it looks
Smog.
Hurston is looking so good. Man. Not
It
in
looks
terms of
desolate.
like not in terms of places I want to go, just in terms of like the quality of the art.
Well, yeah, I mean, Grave Peril, you're right. If it's an MMO, it needs fishing.
Oh yeah.
That's a rule.
They have to. I mean, it's. I don't know if they've ever like specifically called out that they're doing fishing, although I think they have. They did actually talk about collecting fish though, and they have the
Yes.
aquarium and everything. I'm pretty sure fishing is going to be in the game. It's just not a priority. Right
Yeah.
now.
I mean, I feel like it should be a priority once they get fish, because I don't imagine that fishing is a very hard thing to add, but I think it
Now, here's
adds
the
a
question.
lot.
Can you fish with a bomber?
Probably, but I think they'd all die. I think
Yeah.
I want you to have to actually catch the damn fish.
Like the
Happens when you
goblin,
pull a fish out of water for an extended period of time.
the,
Elvis.
like that's like the goblin fishing rod, and wow, is the stick of dynamite.
I don't think it's going to be simplistic because you know what CIG are like. It's gonna be pretty much a full fucking game. There are already games that are just fishing,
Yes.
and they are highly, they're niche games, but they're highly coveted by those that play them.
Well, you know what's really interesting? So I've played a couple of those fishing games, and I've played a couple of the like hunting simulators, and then I went and played Red Dead
Did you
Redemption
get reeled
2.
into it?
And like Red Dead Redemption 2 is a better hunting simulator than many of the hunting simulator games.
Although I got to give credit where credit's due, there are actually good hunting simulators now. It took a long time, but they actually exist.
But also,
but Red Dead is definitely among the best ones. I mean,
yes,
it's just great. And also, same game, Red Dead Redemption 2, excellent fishing game.
Yep, that's what I'm saying. Like Red Dead did excellent hunting and fishing, and it did not have to. I really and CIG have talked about hunting and like bringing back animals alive to be delivered to science and stuff, and I think that's really important. And you know, they can do a really in-depth, good.
It's all more gameplay.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, there's no point in putting. I mean, there is point, but I would say. I was going to say there's no point in putting in fauna if you can't interact with them, but there is a point. It makes the world feel alive, but it is a very obvious source of additional gameplay that you would be ignoring otherwise. I mean, flora and fauna are just, there's so much you can do with them, and you might as well go for it, you know? It can tie into crafting systems. It could just be like another cargo thing. Like it's a bit,
we know we're going to be able to interact with them because this is a sci-fi game. There will be fauna that are big enough and hostile enough to be a danger. And as soon as you have fauna that can attack you and kill you, and you can then kill them, then you have to be able to kill all of the fauna, or it just doesn't work. Like if you can kill the giant rats that are trying to eat you, and you can't kill the little rats that are walking around, it's just bad. It's just bad.
Oh, I love episodes like this. There's so much work that they showed that is like, you know, heavily work in progress.
This friggin' the tool.
I knew you were gonna the procedural tool. I knew you were gonna love this thing because it's amazing.
So good.
This is the shit we've been talking about for years, and they even Jared even calls it out. He's like, "This is where game development goes from being linear, or isn't linear. It's exponential. You have this thing, the pieces that go into it took a long time to make, but now you have this thing, and you can make tons of shit with it very fast."
Well,
and he even called out, like, they have a bunch of clicks in here. They have to click this, they have to click that, they have to click this, they have to click that. Right at the end of it, he's like, "Oh, there's a new version of this now, by the way, where it's only one click, and you can make the whole thing."
I mean, even without the one-click solution, that's a good few weeks of work at the very least.
Oh, absolutely.
In an hour at most, and then.
But the thing that impresses me so much is in a little bit in this clip, we're going to get to them standing in the lobby, and it looks like fine. Honestly,
the elevator beams in here are my favorite thing in the world.
They're good, but like,
I mean, the only problem is it's all reused assets, and that's just shit.
But you get into the actual room, and then he clicks cook again. And it fills it in with the extra tag that they gave, right? The detail tag of this is the general. This is medical lobby, whatever. Okay, now we're gonna cook it. And we're gonna add that tag there. Occupied. Boom. It populates it with assets that have been determined to be, these assets go in an occupied wing. But you can see that says, occupied there. Well, some will have derelicts, some will have, pirates, some will have, but it's still just a one click. And it will populate it with assets. The power of this tool is honestly insane, especially if they can now do it with one click.
Yeah, and it's especially in a game like this, like its power. The power of a tool like this is somewhat limited in like a single player game because your world size is, constraint. In a game like this where they have so much area to fill out, they have a lot of stuff they need to do. This thing, like, this is the type of thing that, you know, we've been talking about it for years. They'll get there. They'll get there. They'll get there. You know, they just got to build the stuff, and then they'll get there. That's the type of thing where they're like, yeah, we can make like a space station in half an hour. You know, that's the problem.
Well, and what's going to be interesting to see is, are they going to continue to evolve that tool? They talk at some point about how they're starting to like block out stuff for inside the skyscrapers.
Yeah.
Well, are they going to evolve that tool to be able to do a one click and it populates the entire skyscraper?
Probably.
I don't know. Shiver, what do you think of that tool? Because I know you didn't have time to watch the episode, but
and what you're saying about skyscraper, totally on the table if they want it. It's all just a matter of what do we want? Because now it's all there, literally at the click of a button. Artists go. It's what they've been talking about for all these fucking years. You know, we procedure generate this thing. You can have a small to medium team just do this on stuff. That's their job. Generate shit. Goes to the next person along on the manufacturing line. Artists or what have you go in, have a look around. That shouldn't be there. That shouldn't be there. I like this being there. Bomb. You know, you could have. I wouldn't want to put a time scale on it, but maybe a week to a month. There you go, planet done.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that is the end goal.
And they even talked about it towards the end of this episode. I was glad because they actually touched on a few things that you've been worried about for a while, David. And they, in this episode, one of them was equipment towards the end, and they were talking about how they're really working on proceduralizing equipment, so there'll be tons of equipment. Just
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Ridiculous amounts of equipment. Well, I know, but like seriously, just reminded me because that addressed one of your concerns. And then they also addressed another one later.
I love this episode. This is a great episode. Shiver, what do you think of this?
Tubes?
What do you think of the detention center blockout?
Oh, is that what this is? A security station?
It's a place to drop off prisoners, bounties.
Oh,
if I
that's what
die
that
and
is.
respawn fast enough, will I be able to put my own body in for drop off?
Okay. Yes.
It was his idea. Yeah, it's pretty. Obviously, it needs populating, but it's looking pretty cool. It's it's still got the familiarity that you would expect from a present day kind of cell system, bounty hunting type thing. You know, you can imagine this is in a small town today. This kind of jail system, so it's not going to be unfamiliar and easy to navigate, which is. That's always going to be a problem, is navigation in new places. You need if it's a new place, you don't want to be fucking around in a game going left, right. Oh, it was left and all that sort of thing. So,
Yep.
Absolutely.
Tip, great point that they have been talking about all of this for years, and it's like it's coming to fruition. Like the scope has kept, which is great. And Darj, you're absolutely right. This right here, the player apartments in buildings, like they'll be able to populate any of those skyscrapers with player apartments.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
And with anything else, you can have an entire mission location. Like even potentially in the future, they could create the entire mission location on the fly. Like maybe not create the interior because the interior might already be there, but they could set dress it on the fly. You could use have that tool create the interior of a space and the whole mission, and
then change the overlay tag.
Crazy, yeah, totally.
Oh, we need this place has been overrun by pirates. Let's change the overlay from empty to occupied pirates, and then go on your mission.
So cool.
Yeah.
And
dynamic overlays.
And the thing is with that too, Darj, is that they once you have a tool like that and you have a whole bunch of buildings in the city, it doesn't break immersion. Like even if you do dynamically change the overlay of a specific space and you're like, oh, I've been, they don't have to. It doesn't have to feel weird for the player because there's so many buildings that you don't often go back to the same one. If
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So it's they got a lot of power here. They've been working forever on these procedural tools, but they seem to really be paying off.
All right.
And,
Next we
I'm
got
assuming at some point, like a lot of this stuff will probably be player facing too, because we will be building outposts. We will be building potentially. They've hinted at space stations in the future, so you know, it's neat seeing this stuff at this stage. And also, this shot of Lorville at night is amazing. It looks so good.
it looks good.
It's one thing this game is great at. Right,
Yeah.
Shiver?
Yep. I'm just sat here going, "No, that's so good."
It looks very Blade Runner.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I kind of Tron meets Blade Runner.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
Wow.
Okay, so they're doing some updates to some shaders or some blend layers. I don't know. They're making stuff look prettier. So here's Shiver. What they're talking about in the episode here in a minute is being able to add tints to armor. So here they're talking about like being able to have the different wear levels from level 0 to level 100% wear, being able to spawn armor in at different wear levels, so not everything looks the same pristineness. And then they also talk, which is I think the most exciting thing that they've talked about in a long time, the ability to do custom tints on the fly for all of these armors. Procedurally tint them, and then also procedurally possibly change the statistics of those armors based on their tints.
And also it can be tied to location. That was another really cool
Yeah.
thing, where they could be like, oh, you're on an ice planet, so it won't generate like fluorescent orange armor. It'll be, like that type of deal. So they can tie what tints it will use to the location. If they want to. But it's and they also talked about being able to make pieces of armor that were pretty what am I trying to say? Like they had to be worn in a set. They were talking about making a lot of those pieces of armor more modular, so you could put on other pieces with them. Yes, once we get to armor tints, we're definitely in an MMO. Yeah, that's right, Chip.
What do you think, Shiver?
Yeah.
I mean, it's about bloody time. It should also, I would imagine,
love it.
It's preliminary work for doing it to ships.
Mm-hmm.
Tints to
of
ships,
course,
yeah.
That's going to also raise a possible issue of what's going to make a tint different from a pre-purchased skin.
I'm going to let them worry about that.
Yeah.
But then I suppose that the same could be said for armor, because at some point it's almost inevitable that they will have paid-for skins for armor and such.
Oh, yeah. Just because this is actually a really good topic, I hope that they make tints free / things you can collect in the game, and I hope that they focus paints more on like custom things that you can't do with tints. I also don't want them to allow players to paint their own stuff, honestly. I think that opens too much immaturity if we're allowed
it's going to be it's going to have to be a mature rated game anyway, I believe, because just simply for the fact it's online and you can't control what other people are going to say. So
it is, but I don't want.
But I think you're past that, man.
No,
it's
see,
it's a game.
I don't think it's.
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
Eric,
Sorry.
go on.
It's a game of persistent entity streaming.
Yeah.
There's going to be dicks everywhere. They'll be everywhere.
They might get
crop
cleaned up.
circles, like crop circles, except they'll be dicks everywhere.
He's right. He's right.
You are right. I
They would be
I
amazing.
Think, so if
Penis
I
entity streaming, there it is.
okay, no, can we at least
I
call
don't
it
think they're
penile?
going to ever allow the freedom of complete paint everything from scratch to where you want it, and just draw dicks everywhere. I would imagine it would be like, this section of the ship can be painted like this section can be painted like that, and like Daja said, paint lines and all this sort of thing. So you can't exactly mimic a skin. But there's one thing that Warframe does that I fucking hate about it is paying for color palettes. I get it, but I hate it. I don't want to pay for color palettes. If I want a black spaceship, I want a black fucking spaceship. Why should I pay 5-10 quid for one color that I want?
I think you should pay for paint palettes with in-game money.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Right?
Fine.
Like,
Hey,
sure, you have to buy the paint palette in-game.
Yeah.
That's coffee.
I will be right back. Hey, Coffee. 2 seconds.
He's abandoned us now, Shiver. What are we going to talk about?
Amigas.
Okay. What are we going to talk about?
Amiga.
Okay. You still have an Amiga?
Technically, yes. It's buggered, but I still have it.
Do you? When's the last time
hard
it
drive and
turned?
everything.
When's the last time it turned on?
The 90s.
That's what I expected. So
It was great.
So should we? Is that what we should be doing? Is trying to find you a working Amiga?
Technically, it only needs a new hard drive with a fucking workbench installed.
Only that does not sound like a simple thing on something that was built 40 years ago.
The CPU in that Amiga 1200 I had didn't have as much oomph as a current mobile phone.
Oh wow!
But I still had lots of fun on it.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. David is back. What's up,
I
David?
am. Sarge?
I played Wing
That's a
Commander
good
on an Amiga.
realization.
There we go.
I never played an Amiga. Atari's the oldest thing I played. I started with an NES. Actually, I started with a Pentium 100.
I started with an Atari 2600.
Atari was the first thing I played. That was the first video game.
My first video game was Legend of Zelda. Well, actually, I don't know. I don't know if Legend of Zelda came... No, Legend of Zelda had to come... Did Legend of Zelda come out before King's Quest?
First game I played was Asteroids.
Asteroids. Nice.
Asteroids, Pac-Man, Battlezone.
Legend of Zelda. So I want to talk just a little bit more about this because this is something near and dear to my heart. It's something that I've been saying for 8 years that CIG need to detail how they're going to do it. Which is they do have a pretty limited number of items. And one of the things in MMOs is lots of items. Like in WoW, how many different pieces of armor are there in WoW? How many different weapons are there in WoW? And not even the models aren't even all different, but they've got different names and different stats and different, they are different weapons. You have room to improve. Diablo is, I think, the perfect example of this. Diablo is a Skinner box, right? It's
A what?
It's a Skinner box.
I don't know what that means.
What's that?
Do you not know what a Skinner box is? Okay, I gotta
Never
look
heard
it up.
that term before.
Skinner box. It was an where is it? It was an
Dodge
experiment.
just had the best idea ever. We do need a mini game of Brick Breaker and Moby Glass.
Oh, absolutely,
Why
we
isn't that
do.
a thing?
We need a bunch of we need Brick Breaker, we need Asteroids, we need like Centipede, a bunch
Wing
of
Commander.
old yeah, why not put Wing
Fuck licensing.
probably
Wing
licensing,
Commander.
but so Skitterbox is like you have a rat, they have two buttons, one button gives them food, one button electrocutes them. Well, they're going to start hitting the food button, and then they continue hitting the food button. They want the it's
I want the food, man.
You want it's instant gratification
Until
right?
the rat builds a device that needs electrical power, and then he starts other buttons.
Yeah, but like Diablo is one of the greatest things about a game like Diablo or World of Warcraft is the constant improvement. You start at level 1, you level up, you get new equipment, you get new moves. There's always new things. We as humans really like getting new things. It's new shinies, right? And Star Citizen has a problem because, well, there's only so many shinies. There's only so many pieces of armor, and there aren't even that many.
Oh, there's quite a few now. I actually think it's one of those things. It's an opportunity and a risk. Star Citizen has the opportunity to be better at that than any other game ever has been.
Yes,
because they have potentially almost unlimited play space.
Yeah,
like if you put interesting things in environments, if they're able to put interesting things in most of the environments in the game, the environments are enormous. There will be tons of shit to do.
Well,
and it will keep people playing forever.
You know how right now I'm like, no, I am not going into a cave. I'm just not going into caves.
The only reason you don't want to go in a cave is because it's super easy to get stuck and it's hard to make your way around.
And there's nothing in it. Now, if there was a chance, but nothing important, nothing that matters. Now, if you started telling me that there's a chance of getting loot in caves.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm interested. Oh, can I get different armor that's better in some way? Okay, I'm interested. And I know they talk a little bit about it in this episode. The procedural tints is great. Different looks is great. We're going to have to see about storage room and a better way to store it. We really need an inventory 2.0. But one thing they didn't talk at all about, and something that I still think they need to talk about, is what are they doing with statistics?
Oh, weapon statistics. Yeah, they've
weapon and armor statistics.
They've touched on it briefly in the past, but nothing substantial. That's still working.
But like World of Warcraft. Oh, go ahead, Trevor. Sorry.
So to do what I think they might, or at least could do as an approach, is the basic. Let's go with a rifle. Has your basic stats as is, straight off the manufacturing line, usable. Has these stats, they're under the hood, what have you. But then let's say it's a modular, or you can add on things, and these, the scope is obviously going to improve your range or something like that. You can extend the barrel for, I don't know, because you're
more
intimidated
damage
by the size of the barrel.
It's usually
things like that.
So, barrel extenders are usually better accuracy.
Yeah, I guns, they shoot things. There's my knowledge of guns. But add-ons like that, extended clips, hair triggers, things like that, that can make your gun fairly unique and is easily added on. And it's like this piece of equipment can go onto this rifle and it does this. And maybe a rifle's got an ultimate rate of fire level that it can never exceed without you taking it to someone who can do tuning or overclocking, exactly like that. So you've always got this extra levels that you can take it to make your gun particularly unique.
Yes, and the thing that they need to do is they need to start having those statistics on guns and armor vary and be more readable, right? Well, so you can find in a desert
vary to a degree, because if it's going to be block manufacturing thing, you would expect everything to be either exactly the same or barely any difference. But then if you're going to get something unique, from an actual weaponsmith that specializes in making the penis gun 5.0. You want each one of those to be unique.
But it shouldn't even be that way, right? It should be, okay, well, like, let's take what's in the game right now. There are missions right now where you go into a bunker and you clear out a bunch of normies, and then the big boss comes out, right? Okay, well, that big boss shouldn't have the same gun as a normie guy. His gun should have a slightly higher chance of stats, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe he's had his gun modded.
See, that's where I think that's how I think you can play into it. Yeah, for sure.
But
as you know, somebody who has more resources can actually do a bunch of modifications to a weapon to make it more effective.
But as soon as you add that, you add the ability to improve off your base stuff, and it means that you're suddenly interested. Ooh, I wonder if this gun is better. Let's check. Like, it adds.
I like that too, because that can really push the like desire to do the thing, because maybe going and collecting all those modifications for weapons and shit is, I wouldn't say necessarily hard, but time consuming. You know, and then you can go down there and find this weapon that's been modded to shit, and you're like, well, that would have taken me like hours to get all those mods. I'm going to use this weapon.
I wonder if they'll take it to such a place where you can manufacture your own parts, or maybe your own entire rifle, depending on what you find on a planet. And if this planet has got particularly rich ore that's good for something, you can make a rifle that's extra special in some way, shape, or form, as well as being able to make equipment for your ship in some way, shape, or form.
I do expect that's going to be happening. They've hinted at the whole manufacturing side of Star Citizen
several
for a
times
long
now,
time. And we've started to see, they were starting to mention crafting, and we actually have a little bit of crafting in the game now. And so I do think that is sort of the next realm that we'll see open.
Well,
which,
and I
you know, can really benefit from procedural systems as well, right?
Yeah. I want to say, like, so far we've been talking mostly about like guns and armor, but I think it's really important to tie this in with last week's ISC, because okay, you're in ship combat, you beat a wave of guys, you knock them all out. Oh, I'm gonna hop out of my ship and inspect their weapons. Ooh, this one is better than mine. I'm going to use my tractor beam, take my gun off, put his gun on, and fly away with a better gun than I came with. And that's going to be completely possible as long as they like take this the next step with loot. It's going to add
how much like core gameplay awesomeness we've had in the past couple of weeks of ISCs.
I know.
Like,
it's so good. But like it adds that little bit of excitement at the end of any battle of, yes, I survived. Ooh, I wonder if there's any goodies for me, you know?
Yes, Darge, you will have to bring your own cinder blocks.
But you have to make sure that they get back before midnight.
Did you see that bit, Shiv, with where you can basically salvage components or remove components using a tractor beam?
Oh, you weren't here last week.
No, he wasn't. I was just wondering if you watched the episode.
Maybe, but it's been a week. It's been a week.
Yeah, fair enough. But basically, the upshot of it was that they can is that you can, you know, remove components from their hard points and from all their spots using the tractor beam, and like that's huge because it adds a new tier to salvage like immediately. Yeah. Bam. Which
that's coming in 319, right?
I don't remember.
I think they said that's coming 319.
This is my favorite scene from any episode they've ever done of this show. It is my favorite thing ever.
It's pretty good. And yeah, salvage is meant to be in 4 sections, and I think I said this last week as well, we didn't expect this section anytime soon.
Mhm.
right? We thought it was just going to be the very basic hull scraping. We didn't think we'd be able to grab components as quickly as we are.
Yeah,
And I
totally,
think
Darge.
About fluids.
Grabbing what was that?
fluids.
Darge mentions fluids.
Yeah, so that's part of salvaging, right? Is you should be able to remove the fuel from a ship. So that's a thing.
Stock up
Sci-fi.
yours.
Nice.
One of the things that they're actually talking about doing right away, which is kind of like the fluids thing, is they were showing in there where a starfarer could disable another starfarer and steal their fuel tanks.
Yeah.
Using the tractor beam to rip them off. Yes, you will be able to, Darge, and I'm sure there will be no interesting commentary at all in the in-game chat about it.
None.
I find that
think
very
it's-
hard to swallow.
Oh, do you know?
Look at him. He's getting angry. He's going to give me a mouthful in a minute.
Wow.
Yeah.
Something on the tip of your tongue.
No, but there's something stuck in my throat.
So,
If you love me, you'd swallow that.
Darge. uh, so I didn't want to give them credit. They've been having a hell of a time with yes, I'm changing the subject. They've been having a hell of a time with elevators, so it's great to see them making making a little bit of light of it.
Yeah.
In this episode with multiple memes about elevators. I especially love the one at the end where the elevator doors are hunting the guy through the space station, because although we can't see them, that does actually kind of happen, where you call for an elevator and it like actually arrives at the back of you and knocks you into the freaking like ether.
I
Oh,
want to
it's so
say,
funny.
like, I really do feel, I know that they're still having problems with 318. 318 is still just a huge change to the game, and I really do feel for CIG trying to get it up and
Okay.
running and working for everyone again.
Mhm.
It's rough, but it was always going to happen. It's still an alpha. This is important. What I will say is, like, especially the past 3 weeks of ISCs,
Yeah.
I think have shown a level of how to put this. They've really shown that the pace of the game's development seems to be increasing dramatically, in my opinion. Like, we're getting component removal, which we had no idea was coming, and now they're talking about procedurally generating armor and the statistics and tints, and like, there's so much coming that it just doesn't, like, it leaves a really good taste in my mouth. It's nice. Like, it's like a really good bite of a burger or something, you know? And it's just like juicy and satisfying, and a little bit dribbles down, and it's just, I'm
Sounds like
happy.
you cocked up.
So it's what I'm known for. I don't know. I think the pace of development is increasing. I know that they've been hiring a lot, and I think it's good. I think it's going really well.
Yes, I'm gonna be that person. I'm gonna warn a little bit. Sprint reports are sprint reports. They are showing things that are not close. Generally, most of the stuff is not like going to happen immediately. But yeah, it's great to see how much stuff they're working on, and it's only a tiny fraction of all the stuff they're working on. The building interiors thing was kind of cool too, because they were like, "Hey, we're talking about doing building interiors." And then, like a few weeks later, we're like, "Oh, there's white box of them doing it." Cool.
Do you think if we
Obviously-
beg,
Obviously,
do you
working
think
on
if
it
we
pretty
beg
hard.
it'll come faster?
No,
Okay.
It's just like 9 women can't have a baby in 1 month. You know.
I think you'll find that more than 9 women have a baby in 1 month.
You know what I mean.
Well, I don't think so. They showed a bunch of stuff that's coming later this
We're
year.
gonna go
They
see
said,
Shiver.
right?
A lot of that stuff would probably be there's a lot of things in that we saw this week that will probably be in this year.
Yeah.
They were talking about some of the stuff was 319, some of it was 320. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the 420 update.
I just had a really important question. I know we've got 10 minutes, so I'd like to pose this to you guys because I don't know how this is going to work. So we were just talking about procedurally generating statistics for weapons and such, which is important. We don't know what they're doing yet. Let's say they do. Let's say they do have like tons of weapon variety and rarities and expand in the way that we were discussing. How do they tie that into Squadron? Are you able to do the same in Squadron?
No, that would make no
at
sense.
Most, it would be bare minimum at most.
Military.
It's all military issue.
It's a military thing. It's the military, and they don't have that type of deal going on in militaries. You have what you have. It's standard issued. This is your gun. You get a different gun. This is the gun. You get this gun. This is the rocket launcher. There you go. You got a rocket launcher. I don't think there's going to be any customization to be had.
The most kind
Thank
of
you,
customization
Griff.
would be look at movies like Aliens. You might be able to put a bit of graffiti on your rifle or something like that. You might have this kind of scope instead of this kind of scope, but it's standard military issue.
I would think that's how they're going to take it. I would be very surprised if you have much customization in Squadron. What do you think, David?
No, I agree. I think that they can really easily get away with you not getting too much by stuff being military issue. You're not, but then you should be able to sit there in levels and loot. Like Halo, you're a military person. You grab whatever gun you want. Call of Duty, you're ostensibly military. You're so military that you spend a lot of time shooting civilians. So you grab whatever weapons you choose. Sorry, I've been thinking about the Russian level a lot. Is it the Russian? I don't remember.
Is that level?
You can take your time.
I don't remember a lot of shooting civilians in Call of Duty. I'm sure it happens.
There's an entire level in Call of Duty where you walk into an airport. It's one of the older Call of Duties. You walk in. It was a thing at the time, but you walk into an airport or something and start mowing down regular people, but you don't know Russian. Yeah, you don't have to shoot, but you can. Yeah. It was a thing.
Oh yeah, no, I know. I remember the controversy about that now.
Yeah.
I'm glad we've moved past such things to have games like GTA 5 now.
Yeah.
It was a really cool scene. Call of Duty has had a lot of really meaningful. I still think quite frequently about at one point in one of the Call of Duties, I think it was Modern Warfare, the person that you've been playing the entire time, like a nuke gets set off and you're in the radius and the person you've been playing dies of like radiation burns. And that, like that, when it came out, that was like, damn, like that's actually shit.
Yeah, I know.
It was good.
Okay, I've got to ask. I don't know why you've made me want to ask this. Eric, your biggest, most favoritist twist in all of your gaming history?
Best twist?
Yeah.
You know what immediately came to mind? I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's the one that immediately popped into my head. There's a moment fair.
Darsh.
I would say probably early midway through Dragon Age Inquisition, where it feels like the game is over. David's apparently either
I just
having
stubbed
a
my toe
stroke.
under my desk.
Oh, okay, that's what that was.
Keep going. Keep going.
When you're
There
going
was a
through the
moment.
snow.
No, before that. There's a moment in that game where it feels like the game is over, and you're like, "Why is the game ending? This is really early." And then like a huge thing happens, and then the whole game continues on from there. And I thought that was really good. It definitely stuck in my brain.
You have to replay that.
I don't want to say. I guess it's old enough now. I don't know. It's been a long time since I played it, but it's before you get to castle.
Yeah.
It's the lead up to that, and there's like a big event that happens in the game, and
Yeah.
and it feels it feels very much like the end of the game. Like the lead up to that is like, oh, it's this is it, and you're done. And then
I actually stopped playing at the castle.
Half the game is still ahead of you. There we go.
I gave up on the game once you got the castle. I lost interest. I don't know why.
I love that game.
Yeah, I liked that
It's good.
game. It was
a good
obviously
game.
it's no Dragon Age Origins, but nothing ever will be.
No, but it was a lot better than the previous Dragon Age was, and it was
2 had
there was a
good
lot
story.
of really interesting. Sure, but it was super short, and literally I ended it, and I was like,
What?
What about the rest?
You know what made it worse? Constantly reused assets.
Dragon Age 2 was such a weird experience because you're like, this isn't a bad game, but there's hardly any game here. Like it basically was like it just ended when it was beginning, and you're like, what the hell?
Can I answer
Shiver,
the same?
Shiver, what's your favorite twist?
Sure, go ahead.
I was Revan.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's a
classic.
very good one. I actually probably would have called that one out because that one really, really punched a hole in my chest at the time. But it's been. I played that game when it came out, and I haven't played it since. So it's a little bit fuzzy in my brain.
I still remember that revelation. I was playing through it, and then suddenly the mask comes off, and it's like, I need a minute, and I had to go outside and have a smoke to just fucking process this. This was.
I had to take a minute.
Harris?
So, I mean, I need to give props to like Revan. Yes, absolutely. Props to Would You Kindly? Bioshock.
No, before that. Would You Kindly?
Would You Kind? Yeah. Isn't that's the? Have you played? You never played Bioshock, did you?
No.
Okay.
Bioshock
has
right.
Yeah, it's the same. Bioshock has one of the better twists out there. Mine isn't so much as a twist as something that's completely unexpected. It's still it is, I think, possibly my favorite moment in a video game ever. I think about it all the time. Like, all the friggin' time. It's from Fable 2. You play all the way through Fable 2. You get all the way to the big bad, right? And you're standing there with the big bad, and he starts monologuing. And the big bad is sitting there monologuing, and you have one button you can press. I think it's 2, actually. Like, stab or shoot, right? So you've got 2 buttons you can press while the big bad is monologuing. You can either stab him or shoot him, and he's monologuing and monologuing and monologuing. And I just sat there and listened because I was like, okay, this is kind of interesting. Go on your spiel. Let's see what happens when you finish it. and he's talking and talking and talking. I think he talks for like a good 5, maybe even 10, like not 10, but like good 5 minutes. He's sitting there talking. And then one of your companions is like, all right, I've had enough of this, and shoots him dead. Game over. And the game is done. And you don't kill the big bad. There's no big bad boss fight. Your companion just, screw it, I'm done. Shoots him dead.
That's hilarious. I don't know if I ever finished that game.
It stuck
Maybe your
with
companion
me.
had dysentery.
Would
Well,
explain
it's yeah. Anyway, I
Oh,
love
Lord.
that moment. I think about it all the time. It's still one of the more. I was surprised. Like I didn't call BioShock 1. I definitely called BioShock Infinite very early on. Like games have to do a lot to genuinely surprise me now. Fable 2, that ending, that was a surprise. That was a holy
And what
shit.
about the peeps in chat?
I gotta-
also
Yeah.
I gotta
Star
give
Wars?
credit where credit's due, and since it's on the minds of a lot of people these days, there's no one moment, but the entirety of the 2 Last of Us games. The writing is amazing. There are many twists that got me, and surprises and things that I did not expect to happen. They do a great job, and props to them.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a reason that Fable 4 is one of my most anticipated games.
I'm so excited
Period.
for Fable to come back. It's such a good world.
Oh no, don't worry, Jade. We're not going to talk about any. We're not going to say any spoilers for anything Last of Us. Those are new.
No,
I mean-
I'm not gonna.
Dash.
Well,
Fa-
and they're
fa-
so most importantly for the Last of Us is it's so heavily story based that
Yeah.
I wouldn't spoil it for anybody probably ever, because
Yeah.
it is the whole point of playing those games. They're good games on their own right, but really the point of those games is the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Play them for and Jade, absolutely play them. They are
100% worth it.
100% worth it. They're 100% brutal and heartbreaking, and I think propel the medium of video games forward as a medium of art. Like they are works of art.
Oh my
And
god,
David?
David?
Yeah. What?
You may have heard this, but I didn't hear this, and I was just quickly googling something, and that's also why my face is blasted out to the nines. A senior writer for Horizon Forbidden West joined the Fable team.
Look, Fable's going to be
It's gonna be good.
it's gonna be good. Darge, absolutely wait for a couple of patches for The Last of Us.
Oh, yeah,
I've
it'll be
heard
fine.
only-
It'll be fine. They'll get it there.
They'll get it, but do play it. Both of them are.
There's a twist I'm waiting for.
What's that?
Bloodlines
Game
2
Nintendo-
releases, and it's good.
I really, dude. I literally hope nothing more for you than that game releases.
Yeah.
Is good.
I hope. What a twist.
Oh man.
I mean, it was nice of them to pay homage to the original by keep delaying it, but come on.
Oh man.
What I will also say, and this is not a twist, is that it's bedtime.
No, it's not. It's only 10:30 your time. You have to stay up for another 2 hours.
I mean,
Have you,
I probably will.
citizen tip, have you played Bloodlines 1? I don't know why I had to think about the fucking name then. But yeah, Bloodlines 1 with the unofficial patches. It scratches an itch. It's fucking dated. But it
Speaking of
scratches an itch.
vampires, I'm really excited for Redfall.
Yeah, looks good. I'm especially it's coming on Game Pass. I don't even have to worry about the money aspect of it. I'm just gonna
Right?
go and play it.
I'm
just
so
go play it.
excited
I
for
already
it.
have Game Pass. I'm good to go.
Darsh,
This is gonna be a good year for people who are at Game Pass. I can tell you. Like,
Yeah,
oh boy.
Starfield, Redfall.
Yeah, even just
Darsh,
those two.
I hope Squadron 42 doesn't have a twist, but I hope
well.
Squadron 42 2 does.
You really want to wait that long for a twist?
Well, I don't think Squadron 42 1 needs a twist. Like, I think.
Sure, it does.
Why?
It should be a story in its own right.
Well, it can be a story in its own. It can be a good story without a giant twist, right? Actually, though, here's a question: Star Citizen, the persistent universe, happens after the story of all 3 squadrons, correct?
Unknown at this time. I don't think we've heard much of anything about the second and third squadron, except I know that the original working title for Squadron 42 2 was Behind Enemy Lines. Behind Enemy Lines, yeah.
Which is a great movie. BT dubs.
Oh, amazing movie. But I would imagine that all 3 of the single player games probably take place before the events of the MMO, simply for continuity's sake. Like, it'd be really hard if like the world changed, if like in a persistent universe, and then trying to explain that in the single player game, it's way easier for them to just have it set before.
Well, and that's sort of why I don't imagine there'll be many huge twists in the squadrons, because at the you can't really have a twist that has your character, hating the military or something, right? Because
you could. That might be why they leave the military at the end of the game.
But they don't leave they don't leave at the end of 1.
Maybe they don't.
Twist is the Vandal were humans from the future sent back in time to deal with Earth's dwindling resources that was caused by the Vandal invading Earth.
Jade, yeah, 42 takes. I hate the. I genuinely hate what CIG have done to numbers. No lie. Like, Squadron 42 takes place in 2945, but Star Citizen is in 2953. It's ridiculous. What we don't know, though, is what years Squadron 42, Episode 2, and Episode 3 take place in.
No, we don't. Why don't you like the date system? Did you want them to do something else?
Squadron 42 should take place in 2942.
No, what's the name of the squadron?
I don't
It's
care.
not the name of the year.
It makes it easier for me to keep track.
Jesus Christ.
Look, I've gotten dyslexia for numbers. Just make it easier for me. And why is it... And and hang on. Why is it 53? Why couldn't it be 2923?
Because they didn't want it to be exactly 900 years in the future.
But it would make it so much easier to keep track of shit.
Well, it's always 930, so just add 930 to the...
I can't do that math.
Okay. Get a calculator. There's one on your phone, which is always with you. Sorry.
Yeah, except that I was just given a new phone, and now I can't find my calculator anymore because it's a bloody mini Apple piece of shit.
It's not even worth having a work phone if it's an iPhone.
I don't have to pay for a plan. And plans in Canada are
expensive.
$100 a month for the minimum. Stupid.
You can do better than that, but it takes some hunting around usually.
It's not easy.
Did you hear about the new one that they're going to do? It's just, goes over your face, only like that. They're going to call it an eye patch.
Darsh,
I love it.
Is that 28 pounds?
Wow.
Why would Darge be using pounds sterling?
Well, sorry, 28 what? Oh, euros. That'd be euros.
Yeah, it'd be euros.
28 euros. If I want to go Unlimited,
It's basically $100 a month.
I'm looking at $85 a month.
There you go. And then things get more
85.
expensive. And then things get more expensive if you have a good phone.
Yeah. And that's not for a good phone. Premium is 105.
Yeah. Yep. All right, we should
I'm
let you
not
go to
doing
bed.
that shit.
Well, hang on. There's some betting going down in chat. I want to see where this goes.
Uh-oh.
Wait, what's being betting?
Jade doesn't think that Squadron 42 is going to make a very big impact on release and be lackluster, have lackluster reviews. Griffin's like, no, it's going to be big.
Who is this person?
And they're betting an X1.
I think it's well. No, hang on. Let's ask the question amongst ourselves. Shiver, is Squadron going to be big or flop?
If you'd have asked me before Jade said anything, I would have been like, yeah, it's going to be big, but they've actually put a fucking doubt in my mind now. Because it might not be that big with general games, and it probably will, go out to lackluster reviews because they're not going to pay paying for good reviews.
Eric?
I disagree with Darge and Jade and Shiver.
And you're going to say
that's
what?
uncomfortable. I'm going to say that it does. Like, it's never going to do as well as Call of Duty. Like, nothing can. I would say that we're going to be talking about how many millions of copies they've sold. That's my personal opinion. The reason I think that is that they have worked so hard to make it appeal to pretty much anybody. It will have lots of sequences with space combat, but you'll also have long sequences of ground combat and probably some platforming stuff in there as well, or investigation or that type of thing. It's going to have a big story with lots of celebrities, lots of really flashy. They can advertise on these people and their role in the game, and yeah, personally, I think that it's probably not going to be the best-selling game of the year it comes out, but I would expect it to. I'm gonna give a number here, which is gonna bite me in the ass. I would say I would be stunned if it doesn't sell at least 2 million copies on PC.
All right.
It's got to sell well enough to fund Star Citizen. That's the plan.
There's my
Star
number.
Citizen's already funded.
I'm going to say...
Oh, yeah, that's true.
The original plan was that.
It was, yeah. Yeah, that was the original plan. The hope has been for a long time that the single player will really bolster the amount of money that the persistent universe has, right, to do operations and such. But
can I weigh in?
No.
Yes, I would love you to weigh in. Please do.
Okay.
And as long as it's not, I'm going to bed now. Click.
No, it's not.
That would have been perfect.
I really want to I want to get into this, even though I really have to pee. But I'm going to do this. So, what?
I don't know why that amused me. It just did. Let's see if we can delay him talking just to make him even more desperate for a bit.
I think that Squadron 42, one of the things is going to depend on the advertising. We know that it has just a star-studded cast. The cast is fantastic. They have a lot of opportunity to market the hell out of this. Also, if they're coming out sometime in 2024, Starfield, if Starfield, it depends on a lot of things, but let's say Starfield is really good. Well, people a year after Starfield are going to be wanting more space stuff, right? Like, we're going to have a bit of a resurgence of space popularity, which is really good for Squadron. Now, depending on how they market it, I think they could do 3-4 million. but I think we also have to subtract 1 million of that due to how many people already have bought the game.
Nowhere near 1 million people own Squadron.
No, but by the time, I don't know. I don't know what the numbers are. I think we have to subtract a bunch from that, and I think we also have to subtract, because I know there's going to be people. What's happening? Why is everyone?
I'm just giving heart hands to Pixie. We know Pixie.
Okay. Sorry, I'm distracted. What was I saying?
You really need to pee. That's why.
There
Yeah,
were so
it's
many
true, I do.
millions that they were going to sell, but then deduct 1 million because
So
of.
there's people that have already bought it, which might, like, the people that have already bought it are going to affect its numbers at launch. Then there's also the people that will never buy it, right? There, due to the 8 years, the history of it, there are people that will never buy Star Citizen, and they are people that probably would have bought it if there hadn't been 8 years of negative coverage of Star Citizen, yada yada, dozens. Yeah, you're right, Darsh. But I think there's still
Most people
a really
will
big.
overlook a lot if the game is good.
It's true. So if Squadron comes out and is good, I think. So I don't think it's going to sell a ton right at launch. The other interesting thing is the other thing that's going to be really interesting to see is CIG will actually benefit a lot if, when Squadron 42 launches, Star Citizen is in a place where it's like almost a beta.
That'd
Right?
be nice.
Because I think what you'll start seeing is, like, Star Citizen, Squadron 42, there's a lot more crossover there, and I think you're going to get people that buy the Squadron 42 and cross over to Star Citizen, and you'll have people that find Star Citizen as an MMO, then cross back over to Squadron 42. So I think you're going to have a much longer life for sales of Squadron 42 than a normal game. Normal games sell, the first month is key, and if they haven't sold 3 or 4 million in that first month, they're not going to sell a ton more. I think with Squadron 42, we're going to see a lot more longevity to it as
I agree.
people will trickle in.
I also think that they will. I do agree with. Well, I mean, Tip talked about it. I do think that they will do console ports for Squadron
Yeah.
because they can,
Absolutely.
and I think it might not be on like the Switch because it's fucking impossible. Because Nintendo are a bunch of fucking anyway.
Where the hell is Switch 2? Honestly, I got this. Actually, no, I don't need a Switch 2. I've got a Steam Deck.
They skipped it and released Switch 3D.
It doesn't matter because if they do a Switch, it'll be like a 42-year-old tablet. It'll be just. I'm so sick of Nintendo's hardware being garbage. It's true.
Love Mario Kart though.
Mario Kart's amazing. A lot of their games are amazing. They're just on garbage hardware, which is just depressing. Anyway, but I think for like Xbox and PlayStation, absolutely you'll have Squadron, and it has a lot of flight elements which work really well on a controller. We've seen the developers over the years use controllers a lot because it works really well. So you can do all the flight on a controller, and FPSs work really well in controllers. I know that people hate how inaccurate controllers are for shooting, but there's been 1 billion FPSs on consoles. They know how to do it. And I think that it will all work very well for that platform. So I do think there will be a lot of longevity. There'll be a lot of different types of gamers that get into it. I do think that a lot of people who start playing Star Citizen, who are like, I want to play Star Citizen, there will be people in game and probably out of game who are like, hey, if you haven't played Squadron, go play it. It's really good. If it's really good. The biggest, most important thing for sales for Squadron is a lot of people will even genre jump from like their normal gaming type that they do if something's really good.
Yeah.
And they have no financial pressure to really, in the end of the day, to not put out a good product. That has always been my line. They do not have the normal pressures of a game publisher or game developer to the same extent, they need to put out a quality product. It has to be good.
Sure.
Absolutely, but they're going to release a Chris Roberts game, hopefully fully baked.
Yes.
Is a
Yeah.
Chris Roberts game still going to draw in as many people whenever it releases as it would have when Wing Commander 1, 2, 3, or 4
Yes.
released?
Yes.
Because it doesn't matter anymore that it's a
Actually
Chris
more.
Roberts game.
But it does, because to me anyway, that is what they're doing. It is a Chris Roberts game. This is going to be a Chris Roberts game, and Daj is right. It's a niche game. Certainly on release, it's gonna be a niche game that people like Germany were gonna go mad for it because they've already gone mad for Star Citizen. But there's markets where it's just not going to make any impact whatsoever until X amount of time later, and it would be a fantastic game. It should be a fantastic game, and it might take time, but it's very much a question mark of, is it going to have that impact? Because it doesn't necessarily matter how good a game is. If it doesn't have the word of mouth, if it doesn't have the advertisement, it's not going to get bought.
It does not matter that it's a Chris Roberts game. What matters is that it's a Mark Hamill game. It's a John Rhys Davies game. It's a Gillian Anderson game.
Do you
That
think
matters.
they're deliberately delaying the release of Squadron 42 for a couple of the stars to have just snuffed it
Died.
and then cashed in on their name and said this was the last game they were ever in?
No, I don't.
I'm a
think so.
terrible person. That's a joke. I'm very sorry. I'm not wishing death on anyone. But
I do
there's
actually.
also-
I think that they can. I think they can have broad appeal. Because it's not just a space game. If they had made basically just a Wing Commander reboot, basically, and it was only Wing Commander reboot, you would have your audience is limited to people who like space sims. That's who you would have. Because there is now going to be so much social bits and FPS in there, you can have like trailers that are like, hey, come play Squadron. Here's all the amazing FPS bits, and all the COD players are going to be like, okay,
Jade,
sure.
Yeah.
Jade, I would say that like Gary Oldman, huge. Mark Hamill, huge. Mark Strong, big. John Rhys Davies,
Who the
big.
fuck is Mark Strong?
Really?
You don't know who Mark Strong is?
Really? Seriously, I don't know who the fuck that is.
Really? Okay.
All right.
Like Andy Serkis. Andy Serkis is in everything.
Yes, he is.
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill will be a big one. Yeah.
They like, yeah. Not everyone is like AAA actor, but anyone that is interested in sci-fi, Mark Hamill, like.
I mean, I know that there are people of my generation and a little bit older who are not going to buy into Star Citizen and are not going to, in essence, pre-purchase Squadron 42 by buying a package for it right now. They will wait for Wing Commander, the next generation, to release and then play it. So there are certainly some that have not picked up, because it is a Chris Roberts game, because they're gonna be waiting for the next Wing Commander. I just think it's hard to predict. It's risk.
You know what?
It needs to be the best it can be.
I hate to jump in here.
It isn't gonna get people. It's gonna
I hate to jump in here and do this, but I think that we're actually all completely wrong.
Okay, so it's going to sell 0 copies?
No.
No, we're going to be dead by the time it comes out.
No, in what matters.
Oh.
I think that we are all dead wrong in what matters.
Well, yeah.
Because what matters most in video games now is how does it do on Twitch?
It would do as well as any single player game.
$5,000 viewers right now, 589,000 followers right now.
Thank you, Darge.
Thanks, Darge. I was trying to figure out how to do that, and I'm bad at this.
I'm so proud that we have a bot.
Yay!
That's amazing. Oh, jeez.
I mean, I think Twitch does. How many people bought trombones, whatever it is? Oh, I can't remember the name of it. Like it did well because it had its.
There are games that do well only because they're popular in streaming platforms. I don't expect that to be Star Citizen.
Trombone Hero, there it is.
Star Citizen's going to have whatever $50 million put into advertising. That it will not be made or broken based on who's streaming it.
I think it's going to make a significant difference.
It would help if streamers like it, but it's not an open world game. It is a single player. It is a single player story driven campaign, so it will probably do as well as any single player story driven campaign can do. Which is probably not that great, to be honest, on streaming platforms.
What do you think a fair potential benchmark to compare it to for sales would be?
Resident Evil 4. That did 3 million.
I think
in the first week.
Here's a good comparison.
And it's the best-selling RE game.
This is the thing. I don't think it needs to sell like 20 million copies. There's a game that had a very close tie-in, or not very close, but there was a tie-in with Star Citizen. And my brain is Warhorse Studios made it. Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Yep.
Kingdom Come Deliverance has sold, I think, almost, I know over 2, but probably as many as 3 million copies now. That game is not going to be anywhere near as polished. 5 million? There you go.
Yep.
That game is nowhere near as polished as Squadron is going to be, and it's very niche title. It is a historical only combat game, an RPG. It's very niche. So I think that they have a lot of potential. I think that they should be looking at 5 to 10 million sales. Probably 2 million is like, I would be stunned if they don't get at least 2 million sales. Like, at least.
Yep. I think they will. I think they'll probably start with between 3 and 5. I think people will be a lot more reticent in the first week to purchase it than if it didn't have the 8 long development. But if it's a good launch, I think that we will see longevity, and it's going to end up hitting 10 to 15 million.
Which comes back into what I was saying. Is like, you just make it good. And Chris Roberts, you can complain all you want about Chris Roberts, but he is a perfectionist. He wants it to be his vision. He wants it to be the way that exactly the way that he envisions it. And so I do expect in the game launches that it will be good.
I mean, they could also
the
take
big
it
thing.
as the start release of an actual brand.
Yeah, it is.
Could expand way out from just doing a couple of video games and an MMO, if they so wish, and if there is the interest there. I mean,
Chris Roberts has a very, very rich history in making movies.
Yep.
So
yep, and I'm pretty sure there was an MMO that was going to tie in with a TV series. And
it did.
Hilariously flopped.
It did, but wasn't that? It wasn't. Was it Defiance? I played the MMO.
God knows at this point.
Anyway,
this has got a different approach.
I think we should probably
more of a
get
the game out, see what happens.
Sorry, I'd like to take a second here and specifically call out one of our viewers and blame them. Jade, I'm really annoyed that you caused an extra half hour of discussion here. Terrible. Thank you.
It's all right. Jade's not regular here.
Well, she should be.
They're on a decent podcast with Soul Citizens.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jade, and thank you everybody else. This was
Yeah.
awesome. We had a lot of fun. We always have a lot of fun.
Thank you,
Oh,
everyone,
geez.
for coming and watching us. Please go in and subscribe and watch to subscribe
Soul
and watch
Citizen.
to Soul. I was gonna say Table of Horrors and Shiver
Well,
over
that
at Table of
too,
Horrors,
obviously.
but I forgot how to speak.
You started with an S, so I was trying to help you. But yes, Table of Horrors, most important one. Shiver,
Yeah.
what are you up to this week?
Actually, where'd that go?
I'm so glad you asked because I need a refresher. Shadowrun is tomorrow, hosted by the lovely Softonomicon. Then time zones. Thursday, we
There it
carry on
is.
London After First Light, and then the day after that, we have Oxford's Ashes, both VTM games. Tune in for those if you so wish. We've got a special guest on Oxford's Ashes as well this week. Hopefully. Bring back
That
the
sounds
metal
exciting.
show. No one. What? That's two people that have asked me for that now. It's getting weird. But thank you.
I knew I was forgetting something there. There's the podcast Saturday graphic with the Soul Voices at 3 Eastern, the Astropub at 6 Eastern, and us weirdos at 9 Eastern. It's a full 19 hours of Star Citizen extravaganza for your earbuds.
Why earbuds?
Love you all. I don't know. I think they look like spuds.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Have a great weekend.
I apologize for me. Thank you for coming and watching. Please stay safe and take care. And